Hello, everyone. I'm happy to offer this Let's Talk program via Zoom. I'm your host, Mina Abdullahian, Programming Librarian of Fresno County Public Library. Fresno County Public Library Let's Talk is a series of programs that provide safe to learn local or national concerns difficult to talk about. Please follow us in our site, fresnolibrary.org, calendar of events, and look for our next Let's Talk program starting in fall. You can also suggest a topic for our consideration for future Let's Talk programs via fresnolibrary.org, Ask a Librarian, under the My FCPL module. Today, I'm pleased to be able to invite Mrs. Bernadine Bermudez, our local licensed clinical social worker. She will talk about strategies to help you cope to improve your quality of life in this pandemic. I'm emphasizing that her views expressed should not be taken as medical advice. Welcome, Mrs. Bermudez.
Hi, thank you everybody, and thank you, Mina, for allowing me to do this and allowing us to come together as a community. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to do my presentation. So, managing stress during COVID-19. I have a disclaimer. The information or comments presented in this presentation is for general educational purposes. This presentation is not intended for therapeutic interventions or for self-diagnosis. Myself, which is Bernadine Bermudez, LCSW, encourage you to seek professional therapeutic intervention, go to your nearest hospital, or call 911 if you need it. This information and examples in this presentation is a representative of a small group of individuals and not intended to be a representative of the general population. Thank you, Fresno County Public Library, for giving us this opportunity to come together to discuss anxiety and depression. Thank you all for joining in our community event, and I'm very grateful and honored to be here with you tonight. My information, my office address is 1754 East Bullard, Suite 103. My phone number, my office number is 492-7225, and my fax number is 282-2011. I have my email address, which is bernadinebermudez@qol1.com, my website address, and I also practice telehealth on a simple practice, HIPAA compliant platform as well as an office. My education and experiences, 17 plus years working with women and men and families adjusting and living with dialysis due to end-stage renal disease. 17 years working with men and women experiencing anxiety and depression and exploring their relationship with food. 17 plus years working with men and women who have high blood pressure and high blood sugars that help them change their lifestyles while on dialysis. 6 years working in the hospital setting and trauma ward and ICU. My mission is to inspire women, men, and teens to become their best advocate to improve their quality of life. My vision is to elevate your commitment to your self-care, identify root causes of anxiety and depression. My objectives today is to acknowledge some of the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic in our communities, families, children, and ourselves. Please grab some paper and a pen if you'd like to jot some notes down, and we have some activities. Identify signs of anxiety and depression. Learn at least 2 coping skills to decrease depression and sadness. And learn at least 2 coping skills to decrease anxiety and worry. Where to get help and who to call if you or someone you know is in need of help. And also, you are not alone. So March 20th, the stay-at-home order was initiated. Do you remember where you were at in March? We look back over a year ago where we were at individually, As I self reflect on this opportunity and thinking back, wow, it's been a year. It's been over a year. And, when March came around and we're hearing things in the news about COVID and a lot of different anxiety, feeling a lot of fear. Um, at one point, at points that they were talking about if you get COVID, it equal death. And we know that's not true today. This is a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress that the community as a whole, and not within our state, but as the world was experiencing. Sometimes we thought that this was going to last maybe a couple months, and here we are a year and a half later, and we are still in the pandemic. So, do you remember where you were at in March when you started hearing about COVID? Some of the changes we face as a community and as a whole, the state's lockdowns, schools closed, businesses closed, thousands of people became ill, and some passed away with COVID, and others of medical issues. Essential workers and essential businesses were defined. Multiple people unable to work, cancellations of school activities, church activities, other community events, students attending class from home, adults working from home, social distancing, mask requirements. So many changes that led to unanswered questions, multiple other stressors at different levels we faced. So, some of the other things I remember when we look back and I self reflect about how at one point in the community, we look at it, sometimes we laugh about it because we have to. Um, Remembering the shortage of toilet paper or the shortage of cleaning supplies, the shortage of food, water. A lot of people were going out and buying multiple items, and we couldn't find um, items as simple as toilet paper, as we would take for granted to go to the store and just grab. At one point in our life, it became an essential item. So looking back and those things that we go to the store today, that at one point in over a year ago, they were in shortage. Cancellation of school activities and how we look at the impact on our kids. We look at the seniors of last year who didn't get the opportunity to have those items that I know I look back in my high school years and think about, wow, I remember the prom or going to grad night, graduation parties, those types of things that as an adult we reflect back on. And knowing that our kids were, those items will not be there for them. And now, here a year later, trying to figure out how do we then still help them adjust to that. So, students attending class at home, it's, having the community of their own peers, and then how having them separate then um, was difficult for them to be at home. So not only separation from their peers, separation from their teachers, and then having to be home on a Zoom platform just like we are today, and trying to stay focused on education. Adults working from home, absolutely. A lot of times when we work from home, we work at an office, we use our office time as a place to work, and then when we come home, there's a time of this is my place, I get to relax. And a lot of adults were having a hard time adjusting, implementing both of those in one household, being able to work at home and now having to relax at home and not having those boundaries. So a lot of stress that we were going through. Anxiety and depression, what does this mean to you? If you have a chance, write it down. What does anxiety and depression mean to you? There's a lot of times when we think about anxiety and depression, we think about depression where someone is extremely depressed, where they're laying in bed, they can't get out of bed, um, they're have a danger to themselves, where they're suicidal, having these thoughts. Anxiety, not being able to leave the house, feeling anxious around other people, feeling anxious that um, you're not going to be able to protect yourself or your loved one's not going to be able to protect themselves because of COVID. But there was a lot of different thought process and a lot of different moods and emotions that are going on, and we still go on today. And helping, and how is ourselves as therapists and clinicians, and as neighbors and friends, how do we help each other adjust to what's been going on, and be there for each other? So some symptoms of depression, anxiety: excessive crying or being irritated, bedwetting accidents, excessive worrying, restlessness, anticipating the worst, chest pain, shortness of breath, rapid heartbeat and fatigue, headaches or body aches, insomnia and sleep disturbances, changes in appetite, excessive eating and decrease in eating, mood swings, anger, irritability, nausea, dizziness or lightheadedness, sweating, and trauma. So, what I was noticing is seeing our kiddos resort back. So, example, the anxiety and the excessive frustration that they're experiencing. A lot of our kiddos can't sit down and just talk to us like adults, um, discussing about what's going on. So, we saw things such as crying or just being irritated for no reason, bedwetting, those types of things that we saw in our kiddos. Changes in appetite, excessive eating or decreased eating. A lot of times we would hear now today is the COVID weight gain. Because at home, when you're home, you're bored. A lot of times we turn to food for that comfort. So we saw different things such as increase in binge eating, emotional eating. And there's times when other individuals will decrease their eating because of stress, so they wouldn't eat. They will restrict their foods. A lot of different mood swings, anger, absolutely. Seeing a lot of different just irritability and trying to figure out, how do we adjust to being what's called locked down in our community, because we couldn't go out and just leave, and the fear of COVID or the fear of death, and putting those together, and we actually had to work on really separating that thought process, that because you have COVID does not mean you're going to die. Excessive sadness, suicidal ideations, and self-harm, difficult time concentrating, grief due to loss, grief due to cancellations of school activities, church activities, community events, grief due to canceled of holidays events, family gatherings. I know for me, just as well as for you, having the first time of having Christmas on Zoom, never experienced that before. So that was very different. And the different holidays that we had to use this practice that we're doing right now to communicate and be connected with our family and friends. Loss of interest, trouble concentrating, helpless and hopelessness, guilty, substance abuse, isolation and withdrawn, increased sleep, muscle tension, feelings of worthlessness, reckless behaviors such as drug and alcohol abuse. And we've seen an increase in substance abuse and drug and alcohol use. Guilty, I hear in our community a lot of times the essential workers feeling guilty, because they going to work and not knowing that so many people were not going to work and they had to go to work. Being able to disconnect from families when some of the essential workers would go to work, they actually made hotel reservations because they were working with those who did have COVID, so they didn't want to bring it back to their home. So a lot of times they would be in separation of their family members as well. So you are not alone. As we look back today and as self-reflecting and looking at our community, I love this picture that I put up here because it shows of how many generations were impacted. I mean, from babies to adults, from babies to kids to teens to adults to the elderly, everybody in this world was impacted by COVID-19. Our community impacts. So So cases to review, names have been changed for confidentiality. My son, who was an AB student, turned into a straight F student and isolating. As a therapist, working, I'm not a therapist to my son. I'm mom to my son. So seeing him struggle through this change and trying to figure out how do I help him, and being there as a mom and knowing that him having these grades and him isolating or not wanting to do his homework, that wasn't him. And I knew that, we knew that as a family, that this was not him. This was just him reacting to what was going on. But I also knew that I had to get him help. So reaching out to the school counselors, reaching out to the teacher, having them communicate with him, and being on weekly council meetings with them and talking to him and just having him be connected with the school was so important for him, because this wasn't him. And I think you, as parents and neighbor, your own child go through different things, and that was not is not them, that they're no more normal behaviors. My daughter experienced anxiety being on the computer. My daughter deals with anxiety. Um, and one of the things that she didn't want to be on the computer. So it was hard for her to adjust to that, to know that her face was there presented on this computer and she didn't like it. So helping her adjust to that, getting her used to, but definitely adjusting and trying to adjust. So going to the store, one technique we used was visualization. One of the things that was difficult was individuals, they were wearing their mask. How do we keep ourselves safe, right? And how do not only ourselves, but our family members, because we know that this virus is out there, and knowing that there are a lot of patients that were at higher risk. So this individual practicing visualization as this person got into the car, visualizing how did that feel like, visualizing how to driving down the street to the parking lot. We also looked at the different days and times. Was it better for this person to go in the mornings, or was it better for this person to go in the evenings? So that was there less crowds. They knew when the stores would stock. So, for instance, if the store stocked on a Wednesday, they knew that Wednesday or Thursday would probably be the better day, because of the items. They can get all the items they need and not have to go back and forth to the store. So those are things that some of the techniques that I would use to help an individual adjust and recognize the anxiety and how that feels in their body, how that's connected with their thought process, and how we use those different techniques to help them adjust. The other one is Jane Doe, a teacher who had a difficult time adjusting to online teaching and not being able to reach the students. So when we're in these positions where we have the students in front of us, and this person was always been a teacher, and now having to switch over to online was difficult and challenging to many other professions. Challenge in this time of using online teaching and being able to have the kids in front of this, having the kids in front of them in the classroom. Now having them on the computer and Zoom and not being able to reach them if they needed help. So those types of things that came up, as well as you may have experienced different anxieties and depressions, just going through your own adjustment through COVID. Get professional help. Depression can lead into suicide, self-harm. It's so important to recognize depression, understand what can cause it, and steps to heal. When you identify that you may have depression, need an outlet to adjust to the pandemic, wanting to talk to someone without being judged or worrying about hurting someone's feelings or pressure of someone's taking sides, excessive worrying and anxiety, and following up with your primary care physician if symptoms continue to get worse or linger for periods of time. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that every one of us will go through bouts of depression or anxiety at different levels. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, I need someone to talk to. Silver linings with this pandemic has shined so much light on mental health, mindfulness, self compassion for ourselves, and self care for ourselves. That there's so much that every one of us that has been impacted and have experienced in one level or another, to know that that depression or anxiety was touched in your life, at different levels, but knowing that it was there and it is there, and that we can't ignore it, and that a lot of us experience depression and anxiety, and a lot of us need someone to talk to, without being judged, and or without having the pressure of hurting a family member's feelings or a friend's feelings, somewhere that they can just allow themselves just to be where they're at with their stuff at that time. Some coping tools for self-care: schedule activities that bring you joy and feelings of accomplishment. Meditation, exercising, taking walks, biking, running, hiking, Zoom workouts at home. There's YouTube. You can do Zoom workouts, or weightlifting. Any type of workouts that you can do. Sleep, hydration, positive affirmations, and follow up with physician. When we look at this word self care, there's a lot of times in our community and in ourselves, and you may have experienced when we use the word selfishness. A lot of times we think if we take time for ourselves, we are feeling selfish because we're taking time away from whatever items we may have. So I'd like you to switch that word around. So instead of using selfishness, I would like you to use the word self-care. Self-care is it's so easy for us to digest a little bit more, to know that when we take care of ourselves, for self-care, we allow ourselves to be able to be healed, allow ourselves to feel the joy, allow ourselves to know that we are just as important, to making sure that we take care of our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health, and our overall health. Personal journal, gratitude journal, social media and news. You want to limit those. Read a book, watch TV, be a comedy show. Stay connected with friends, coworkers, family using platforms such as Zoom, like we're doing today. Yoga, great. Basically, when we do yoga, to meditate and to self-center. A gratitude journal. A lot of times we have not heard about a gratitude journal, and a journal can be anything that you like. So sometimes people would get just a notebook and they start writing, whether it's a personal journal. Some people, you can get a journal that has a lock on it, so knowing that your thoughts and your inner feelings that are actually secured. People like stickers. Stickers are pretty cool. Um, so whatever works for you, and whatever that journal looks like for you, that's the one you want to pick. Okay, it satisfies you. In gratitude journal, we're looking at things like what we're grateful for. And I'm grateful for the ability to be here with you today. I'm grateful for my feet. I'm grateful for the air in my lungs. I'm grateful for the ability to be able to have my family. I'm grateful for the flowers, the things that we're grateful for, and that we would write down. Healthy options, hydration such as water, tea, limit your sugar intake, eat healthy greens, fruits, nuts, colorful vegetables, protein from meats, broccoli, spinach, quinoa, and beans, exercising, meditation, gratitude journal, and other journaling, and surrounding yourself with individuals who are positive, outgoing, who motivate and support you in your own journey. And whoever those individuals are for you, that are positive for you, that are uplifting. Hydration, so important to get your water in. And limiting sugars intakes, absolutely. We want to, we look back and how important our health is. That's been definitely one of the silver linings we've seen in through this pandemic is how important our health is and how healthy we are to reduce the risk like high blood pressure or high blood sugars, those types of things that put us in a higher risk for COVID. So we want to be able to take care of our health and focus on our health and how important that is. And when working with your primary care physician or your physician to help you meet specific goals, exercising and it can be if you know how to ride a bike, get out and ride a bike. Being able to be active and walking is always great just to get out and the weather is beautiful. Go out, you see the geese walking or the birds chirping, and being able to walk where you feel comfortable and the time of day where you feel comfortable. Fostering personal goals. Remember, it's progress, not perfection. Taking small steps towards your goal. Identify best. Example, I notice when I go to the store, I get anxious. Ask yourself, what symptoms are you recognizing? Feeling tension on my shoulders. My stomach gets upset. I notice I'm looking for an easy exit out. Use visualization to help reduce the stress. Use deep breathing exercises. Find a safe place. Example is going to the store early in the morning before the crowd. So when we have bouts of anxiety, a lot of times we hear the anxiety here is when we feel it, we're anxious, we're overwhelmed. What happens is that I work with individuals to help de-escalate that anxiety and bring it down. We want to recognize it here before it gets here so we can bring that and bring down that threshold. And one of the things that we recognize is our body talks to us. You'll notice, if we get anxious or tense, or we start being tense, and I even mentioned the word tense, and did you see my shoulders go up? Because you feel with my anxiety, I feel it here in my gut, and so when I do this, when I think about anxiety, I do this automatically. You see my shoulders go up, and so your body talks to you, your thought process, and being able to think about what does that look like for you. Sometimes people would tell me, oh, I get, my stomach feels upset, or I feel like I have a knot in my stomach, or my side hurts. So being able to pinpoint where that tension is at in your body. So using deep breathing exercise, I'll be going through an exercise routine later. I'll show you how to do that. So taking small steps, as remember, progress and not perfection. Taking small steps towards your goals. When we are depressed, finding time can feel overwhelming and tiring. Therefore, we have to schedule our time for activities. Example, our goal is to walk. Ask yourself, what part of the day do I want to walk? Do I want to walk in the morning, in the evening, midday? What does it look like for you? How many minutes do I want to walk? And this is a starting point. I want to start with 15 minutes. Maybe it might be 10 minutes. Maybe it might just be 5. Whatever it may be, what is that starting point for you? When do you want to walk? Or what day do you want to walk? I want to walk on a Saturday, or I want to walk on a Monday, or maybe Fridays might work better. So what day works for you? We have created our goal and steps to achieve this goal. Now we write it down in our calendar. So Saturday at 9 a.m. in the morning, I will walk for 15 minutes. And that's an example. So one of the things that we get tied up is that we think that everything has to be perfect, and that's not the case. It's not about perfection, it's about progress, and it's about starting and taking action. Taking small steps towards your goal for self-care and not selfishness. And so that was one of the things that I mentioned before. When our thought process goes down the rabbit hole of self-destruction and negativity, our self-worth can become darkened and heavy. We have to schedule time for self-compassion and love. Example, goal is to increase positive self-affirmations. Ask yourself, what kind of journal do I want? I want a journal I can write in and draw. Do I want stickers? Those types of things. Where can I get a journal that I can write in and draw? You can get a journal at Target, Walmart, Home Depot, or I should say Office Depot. Sorry about that. Amazon. Find a journal anywhere. The most important thing is to find a journal that speaks to you, that you like, that meets your qualities and what you enjoy. Some people may not like stickers. Some people rather draw. That's okay. Whatever it means for you. When will I get my journal? Get my journal by Saturday, April 24th, or I'm going to get my journal in 2 weeks. Whatever that day is for you, but make it as soon as possible. When were you going to get your journal? When would I write my journal? Once I get my journal, I will write my journal every day for at least 5 minutes. Now write it down your calendar. So one of the things, if we have a structured routine, if we have something, like I use my calendar a lot for a lot of different things, and I'll write in there, write in my journal, 5 minutes. And I need to carve that out to take 5 minutes. And it's 5 minutes for quality time for me, because my self-care is important. So what does positive affirmations look like? So I want you to take some opportunity to think about positive affirmations for you. So these are a couple of them that I wrote down. I am beautiful. I am worthy to be loved. I am a blessing from God. I know this situation is hard, but I am determined to succeed. I am enough. I live my life with positive intentions. With every breath I exhale, I release tension. I got this. I am strong and ready for change. When you get a chance, if you want to share your affirmations, that would be great. Some resources. EAP, it's the Employee Assistance Program that can offer free therapy sessions for you and a family member. So the one thing that I love about employee programs is some employee assistance program offer 6, some offer 8. So it all depends on which one your employer has. But they are free sessions that you have with a therapist that would help you with short-term goals. And if needed, long-term goals, then they can transition you over using your insurance. But a starter is that you know that's a resource for you. It's the Employee Assistance Program. Insurances. You want to call your insurance to obtain a list of providers that are in network with your insurance. Or if you have a PPO, being able to understand in your insurance the difference between in-network and out-of-network. So that's a great resource. For Fresno County Mental Health Services, website searches that you can use. There's definitely a lot of resources out there for you. And one is definitely your primary care physician. Primary care physicians are a great resource to speak to and talk to, and they've been able to help maybe set up finding a therapist for you. Additional resources, Cal Hope, their phone number, 1-833-317-4673, also their website. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. They also have the Spanish-speaking phone number as well, and also the website. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline for Deaf and Hard of Hearing, and also the website itself. The National Domestic Violence Line, and then the Margie Mason Center website as well. Some additional numbers, Teen Line, and also the website, the National Suicide Prevention, and also the Spanish-speaking number, and then SAMHSA, and also the website itself. So right now, I'd like to take you on a 3-minute guided meditation. So before that, just some resources regarding meditation. There's an app that's called Calm, a great resource. They have a lot of free meditation exercises. They have one that's called the breathing exercise, where it shows you how to use deep breathing exercises by on this app. It has music, or it has a noise that tells you when to breathe and when to exhale. An app called Insight Timer, an app called Headspace. It says medication areas, but say meditation and sleep. And then other apps in the App Store, you can look through your phone. And then there are meditation samples on YouTube. So right now, what I like you to do is I like you to sit upright in your chair or on your couch. And if you're on your couch, if you have pillows, you can use your pillows. Right now, I'm on my chair, so I'm going to use my armrest right here. What I like you to do is sit and relax and put your feet on the floor. And when you take a deep breath, I want you to take a deep breath in and exhale out. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. So I want you to pay attention if your breathing is coming from your chest or if it's coming from your abdomen. When we breathe, if you're noticing it's in your chest, what I'd like you to do is to be mindful and switch it over to your abdomen. So you're getting a deeper breath. So you're filling up your abdomen and you're releasing the air. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. Now, what I like you to do is I want you to feel the ground underneath your feet, knowing that you're grounded. Allow yourself to touch the floor. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. What I'd like you to do is move your legs around, release any tension. I want you to sit up, move your back around, move your shoulders. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. I want you to move your shoulders around, move your arms, move your wrist, wiggle your fingers, and release any tension. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. I want you to move just your neck back and forward and backwards. And I want you to center. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. I want you to stay here for just a couple of seconds and just be present with yourself. Take a deep breath in and out. Now open your eyes. Good job. And do you feel a sense of relax and release? The tension's released, and a sense of calmness. And that's where we want to be. So when we refocus and center ourselves to a place where we feel calm. Conclusion. We are not alone. We do this. And as we recognize our quality of life is so important. Mental health, our personal well-being, our fitness health, our medical health, and spiritual religion health have been highlighted. As a community, we have come together. We have faced this crisis together, and we will get through this together. Because we know that every single generation in our community, in our world, has been impacted. Thank you today. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today. Remember the resources that are on here. Please reach out to your insurance, to your EAP, to the resources that you have available. If you need help, if someone needs help, a neighbor needs help, a friend, if you know of someone, please have them reach out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernadine. It was a very useful and helpful information for all of us. We will definitely looking forward to have you and these kind of discussions more in future. And thank you again.
Thank you. It was my
Goodbye.
I appreciate it. I'll be absolutely. I'm here available for you anytime.
Thank you very much, and thank you for watching us.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.